Hanukkah number 2. We left off with the questions, I think, last week, if I remember correctly. Before we discuss that, someone has a question here. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam shehakol nihyo b'dvaro. Thank you to the Coens brothers for taking care of me every time we're having this class. God bless you. Question someone want to ask? What do you want? Someone.
I asked about the telescope and the binoculars.
Oh, telescope and binocular. So what about it? What about telescope?
Do you use it on Shabbat?
On Shabbat, it's not a problem to use. And you can put on not disturb. Okay. It's not a problem to use either one. Okay. In the condition they are not electronic, not electric, and it has to be sitting on the tripod already, ready. If they are there, you can even adjust it. Binocular can adjust it on Shabbat. It's not a muktzah, and it's okay to be used on Shabbat. Any more questions that are not related to Hanukkah? Okay, so we ask a question about, who remember the question? Someone recorded me. Someone recorded me during class last week in order to do the homework.
Oh, wow.
So I'm sure you have questions. What was the question?
It was about what the women have that ties into Hanukkah.
Speak up.
If we want to ask on Hanukkah, we have another question. We have that and have another question. The question was that it's customary to eat dairy food on Hanukkah. Why we eat dairy food? Correct? And it's related in a way. We'll see. Tov. So we left off last time talking about if a seudah on Hanukkah is mandatory or not. I don't know if I'm discussing it here later, maybe. Let's just talk about it for a second. We asked a question if a seudah is mandatory, and we said that it's not, right? Unless you can convert a seudah to become a seudat mitzvah by saying words of Torah, singing for Hashem, lot of brachot. Oh, good. What's the difference between Hanukkah and Purim? So why in Hanukkah we don't have a seud mitzvah to do seudah, but on Purim we do. In both cases we were saved from an enemy. In Hanukkah it was the Greeks, and on Purim it was the Persians, right? So our sages set up a mitzvah to do seudah on Purim, which will be this year Motzei Shabbos, Saturday night, which the seudah will be mandatory during the day, between Sunday. Hanukkah, there is none. It's called seudat meal reshut. Reshut is your discretion. You want it, you don't want it. It's not mandatory. What's the difference? So I saw a beautiful explanation about it. It's about really what happened in these two cases. There's different cases, actually. Yes, we were saved from vicious enemies, right? But it was really a big difference between the two. If you read the Megillah, you will see that in Purim, they wanted to annihilate the entire Jewish people. Men and women, children, God forbid, okay? And elderly people, just destroy and kill everybody. Like some wants today, 2024, there's people today want to do that. Hamas, for example, Hezbollah, Iran, some rebels groups in Syria. They're just shooting missiles. It would hit kids, hit kindergarten, not kindergarten, hospital. Just let's hit a Jew. Let's kill the Jews. Okay? But then in Purim time, it was organized. It was a date. So in Hanukkah, it's different. They say you can live, you can be best friends, but you need to let go of some of your mitzvot that separate you from us. They want you to be like us, means less tznius, dress up like we dress up. Take the door, they took the doors out, no privacy, no tznius, no modesty. They placed in markets, restrooms, open doors, no tznius, no Shabbat, don't keep the Shabbat, no Brit Milah, no Rosh Chodesh, all these. Basically, they wants to get you away from Torah and mitzvot, and they want to hurt, to damage, to hurt our spirituality, our spiritual life, because Shabbat affect our spiritual life, and tzniut, and so forth and so on, all these things. So they didn't care about you if you can live. Just be like us, it won't be so different from each other. So that's the reason. What does that mean? On Purim, they want to kill the body. So we do Seudah for the body. The body eats. On Hanukkah, they want to kill the spirituality. So we do candles. Candles represent Neshama, represent spirituality. It says Ki ner Hashem nishmat Adam. Ner candles represent like the Neshama. You saw people in Tefillah and studying Torah, they're moving like that. Why are they moving like that? Because the Neshama moves inside. It's like the candle, the neck is flickering, right? The candle moves. This is why the Neshama also. So on Hanukkah, it was against spirituality. The Seudah and Purim, Seudah we do inside the house. But on Hanukkah, we place it on the window. Show everybody. You could not destroy the Jewish people because our connection to God is through our mitzvot. And we're presenting it in front of everybody. Seudah, there is no mitzvah to do Seudah next to the window that everybody will watch you. Or to do it outside. Right? The mitzvah is to do the candles outside, to show ourselves, to show everyone that only connections to God is, or the main connection is through our mitzvot that we do in the spirituality. That was in a nutshell about this idea. Any questions? You get the idea?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, we're going to read a little bit about this custom of eating cheese, or dairy food on Hanukkah, and we would like to understand what's the reason. Is anybody here raising his hand, or someone that you notice? No, they got to be really high. I can't see. Nobody? Okay. Go ahead. Hey. Yehudit. She said, good. We'll talk about it in a minute. Yehudit also? Yehudit. Everybody say Yehudit. Who is Yehudit? And how is she related to Hanukkah? Let me read the Halacha. The Halacha says the following. Some people have the custom of eating foods made with cheese during Hanukkah, in commemoration of the miracle wrought through the righteous woman Yehudit. This custom is well-founded and solidly based. Forgot to mention that this class is not sponsored by anybody, but we are dedicating this Torah class for Ashelema. Any names you want to mention, please do it. And to all our Israeli soldiers and all the security forces, may Hashem bring them home safely, them and the hostages soon. Amen. So it was a story many years ago. There's few versions of these stories. I started debating on which era, what time it happened. That it was a very interesting lady that by doing something very brave, she saved the entire Jewish nation. What happened? Let me just read. I think it will be much faster. Rabbi Nissim wrote that men and women are obligated equally in the mitzvah of kindling Hanukkah lights, since women were involved in the miracle as well. One of the decrees, I don't know if you know that, they had a decrees, and it happens many years later, also in some Arab countries. In Arab countries in different ways, that if anybody wants to get married, the lady would have to spend the first night before the wedding with the governor of that place. Okay? If you don't follow, been thrown to jail or get killed. Horrible decree. One of the decrees of the Greeks during the terrible period was that any virgin Jewish girl who was to be married had to surrender her virginity to the Greek overlord before her wedding. This midrash teaches that Yohanan, the Kohen Gadol, had an extremely beautiful daughter, and before her wedding, she was delivered to the overlord's residence to spend the night with him. She pretended that she was honored to have the privilege of enjoying his company. So what she did, she prepared that of good delicacies. She brought cheese, but she made sure this is the salty one. Why? Because when it's salty, you want to drink. I want to drink. When you give him wine, he's going to fall asleep. And she prepared some delicacies for him made of aged cheese. After eating them, he felt very thirsty. And so she gaily fed him one cup of wine after another until he was so drunk that he passed out. She then lifted his heavy sword and decapitated him. She put it in a sack. They don't give the details here. She put it in a sack. She went back to the camp. She showed it to her family. They understand the great miracle, and they got organized to fight against the Greeks. So what happened was, leaving the Jews free. Where was it? Go ahead. When the soldiers saw that their commander had been killed, and they fled, leaving the Jews free of their oppression. Okay, the Chemdat Yomim related a different version of this story at a great length. According to his version, the overlord was the Greek king Holofernes, and the parent of the woman's name is Yehudit. This version concurs with that of the Tosfot. To commemorate this miracle, the custom is to eat foods made of cheese during Hanukkah. All of the above was cited by Bet Yosef at the end of Shimon 675. The Rama too wrote, the Ashkenazim wrote that the custom is to eat food made of cheese on Hanukkah. Okay, so dairy food. Some had the custom to eat donuts with that fried with oil for the menorah, and make sure to glaze it with some dairy liquidish or whatever. So you have both. Okay, so we know now the answer to that question. Nowadays, there is a custom to eat sweetened donuts fried in oil to commemorate the miracle that occurred with the oil of the menorah. When enjoying these confections, one should conduct oneself in a manner that enhances the honor of heaven. Very interesting minhag custom, and I would like to read another note that I think it's important, because some people neglecting a lot of minhagim a lot of customs that they grew up on. Why? Because now they are in a different community, and the people don't do that, or they don't follow it, either because it's Ashkenazi, or Moroccan, or Yemenite, or Sephardi. So they neglect their own customs. Now, not every minhag is true. Minhag, you know what minhag means? Custom, right? Not every minhag is good, is real, is true. Some minhagim are false. Okay? It needs to be checked. It needs to be approved by a scholar, by a rabbi. Because a wrong minhag can lead someone to commit a sin, to go to Gehenna. What's Gehenna? Minhag, if you read it backward, it's Gehenna. All right? This is why you need to be careful with that matter. Then the Neta Gavriel cited the Kovetz Sarid Ufalit. He quoted Rabbeinu Maimon, father of the Rambam. It is forbidden, listen to this, to ignore any established Jewish custom. And on that basis, he ruled that everyone must have a festive meal on Hanukkah. He says it's a mitzvah to commemorate its miracles. He testified that the common custom was to fry sweet donuts in oil, further commemorating the miracle of the oil in the Beit HaMikdash. Okay, Moran Rishon LeZion, the Shulchan Aruch, Bet Yosef, he ruled that this is not mandatory. But the idea here is you have your own customs, you have to stick to it. You have to celebrate it. You have to do it. Okay? So, for example, I was a Yemenite rabbi for 17 years in a Sephardi community. So as soon as I got into the shul, the laws we followed was Chacham Ovadia, Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, and Yalkut Yosef. Okay, so, but when I came home, my custom was the Yemenite custom. I didn't neglect them. On the contrary, I'm investigating all the time to see what's the custom to do in certain cases, for example. Okay? And just recently, I never thought about it, but I thought about it recently, and I checked it out with scholars in Israel. On Tachanun, the customs of the Sephardi, or I think some Ashkenazi, is to hit the chest. So I asked about Yemen, and I grew up like that from the yeshiva. I never thought about it. So I asked, and they said our custom is not to. So I decided I'm going to stop. Okay. 2 days after, a day after, I was keep doing that. While doing that, I stopped in the middle. It takes time to get rid of that. But and other custom, where to stand, when to sit, when you do this, there's a different custom for Yemenites. Okay. So it's very important that we stick to our own customs. When customs can affect, or not can affect, looks weird, you have to be careful. Okay? For example, everybody standing, you have to stand. Everybody sitting, you have to sit. Unless there's a synagogue that not everybody is standing when they're standing. For example, there's a Kaddish in the shul. Not everyone's standing. You see some sitting, I don't know, 10, 20%, 30%, I don't know. So, you don't have to. But in a shul that everyone's standing in a Kaddish, you can remain sitting and say, my custom is to sit. So go down in another minyan. It makes other people confused. So it's just one of the examples. I'm sorry, someone was asking a question?
Yeah, hi. This is Joseph. How are you doing? So the custom of hitting the chest, if it's done in the shul, like you just finished stating, one should continue to do it there, even though it's not your custom at home. But that's something that'll be okay. Or
no, you don't have to, because in that shul, not everybody's doing that.
Oh, okay.
In the shul that I was referring to, but in a shul that everyone does that, it's a good question. You might need to do it. Those who never had a custom follow the customs of the path you chose. For example, there's Jews that used to be secular, and they did tshuva, and now they become frum, they become dati, the religious. So if the advice that we tell them, always stick to a shul and a rabbi, and follow their custom. Now it's your custom. Converts the same. Stick to the rabbis, just embrace their custom, or whatever they guide you to do. Okay, moving on. Let's talk a little bit about the mitzvah of kindling Hanukkah lights. The mitzvah of kindling Hanukkah lights was held in the great esteem by our sages, because it displays our belief in the miracles God performs constantly on our behalf. Like we see today.
Amen.
Today we're seeing a lot of miracles. I'm telling you, I'm amazed every day. Toda Rabbi Hashem. Every day. Okay. Besides expressing our thanks to Him for the miracle of the past, because of this, we must put forth every effort to fulfill this mitzvah, even in the most trying circumstances. Our sages taught that someone who fulfills this mitzvah, even when it's difficult, is assured that his children will become Torah scholars. When, for example, it's a difficult time, you can give me an example. And I'm not saying to put yourself in a risk. You're saying when I put the menorah and exhibit it outside of the house or in the window, and it's a dangerous, neighborhood, with a lot of Muslims, they can hurt you. I'm talking about that. Give me another example. Traveling. So you're making efforts. You're not looking for an excuse not to. Okay? And the one that had the custom to do with oil is even traveling with oil to make sure that he will be able to do it with oil to continue. Soldiers in the army, many times you can't light it because you're in a mission, or you're in a booth, you're guarding. So, but you see people that are dedicated, and I'm sure we're going to see, because Hashem will send them out when they get them in Hanukkah. People lighting candles in Lebanon, in Syria, in Gaza, all these places, and you actually exempt, but people making efforts to fulfill this mitzvah by themselves. And that brings a lot of bracha and blessing to that person. It shows dedication to the mitzvah, regardless of the situation. What about the women? Are the women also obligated to kindle Hanukkah, the menorah? Or the Hanukkah? Not if you have a man.
If he's gonna be
Don't
there.
worry, you said it.
But if he's gonna be there during the right time, if he's not, then she can do it.
The question is, if she's obligated, yes or no?
No.
So you're saying a single woman,
A single woman is obligated.
just because she's single?
Yes.
So they're obligated.
Everyone is obligated. Every family, every household
All right.
is obligated.
Men and women are obligated equally in this mitzvah, since women were involved in the miracles of Hanukkah as well. All the poskim, what's poskim means? What's poskim? You heard this word million times. What's poskim means?
Like the
What's poskim? It's not commentators.
We're talking about it.
Teachers.
No interpreters.
Teachers.
What's a posek? Posek. The ruler, the one that set up the halacha. Chacham Ovadia Yosef, for example, was a posek. Rabbi Yoshiv was a posek. And so forth and so on. Rabbi Moshe Feinstein is a posek. Okay? The Rambam. So, that's the meaning of the word poskim. It's in plural. Posek is one that gives the verdict, one who set up the halacha. All the poskim agree that women making the Hanukkah light and recite the blessing over that mitzvah on behalf of a man, and that those men can fulfill their obligation in this way. This is in contrast to the mitzvah of reading Megillat Esther on Purim. Although women are obligated in the mitzvah as well, since the miracle of Purim were brought about through a woman, Esther. Some poskim rule that a woman cannot read the Megillah on behalf of the man. but it's not really the halacha. The Shulchan Aruch, however, ruled that a woman may read the Megillah on behalf of a man, and this is the halacha. It's not going to be tzniut. It's a shame for the men that they don't know how to read, but it happens here and there in far communities. Nobody knows to read Hebrew. Only a woman, she is the Hebrew teacher in the school. So they let her read the Megillah, and they fulfill the mitzvah doing that. Okay. What about a poor man? Poor man, he says, I wanted to, but I don't have money to buy the oil. So is he exempt? Even a person who is so poor that he would have nothing to eat unless he is given charity, must find a way to fulfill the mitzvah of kindling Hanukkah lights. You see how this mitzvah is important? It doesn't have to be oil, okay? Even if it means that he must sell his only shirt in order to obtain necessary material, or to pawn his only shirt for that purpose. Alternatively, he must find some labor to perform to earn money for this purpose. He must obtain enough material to kindle at least how many candles?
One.
What about the second day?
If you can afford one, you must
One.
kindle
One every day during these 8 days of Hanukkah, he fulfilled the mitzvah. It's the minimum requirement. Okay, to perform the money, and kindle at least one light on each of the nights of Hanukkah. Once he has obtained that much material, he is not obligated to sell his needed possessions to kindle more lights to fulfill the mitzvah on the level of ha-mehadrin. Mehadrin, you heard the word mehadrin? What's mehadrin means? Mehadrin means basically to beautify the mitzvah. Mehadrin min mehadrin. Hidur mitzvah, hidur. You heard this word before? I want a set of lulav and esrog regular, or I want hidur. Hidur means to beautify the mitzvah. So you fulfill the mitzvah with, $60, $70, but one wants the best of the best. It's going to cost him $200. Give me the best of the best. So it's called hidur mitzvah, to beautify the mitzvah. You're going to buy the best talit, and the best tefillin, or the mezuzah. They don't look for cheap. They want best. The custom of kindling more than one light is in order to fulfill the mitzvah on a higher level than the basic requirements. Ha-mehadrin min ha-mehadrin. What we do, Baruch Hashem, everyone I think what we do, doing that. We're doing the mehadrin. We have enough candles. What's the total candles for Hanukkah? If every day we add one more?
9.
30, very close.
Oh, sorry.
36 plus the shamash will be 45. Okay? No, you don't even need the shamash. Shamash is there for a reason. Why we have the shamash? If you kindle the menorah without a shamash, did you fulfill the mitzvah or you didn't? You absolutely did. So why we didn't have the shamash, the extra candle? That is either lower or higher. It is always different. Right? Why we need shamash in the begin with? Did you ever ask yourself why you need the shamash?
But when you use candles, it made sense that was the candle you used to light the other candle, but with the oil, I don't
No, we don't even use the shamash to light the other candles. We don't need to do that. And people mistakenly lighting the shamash first. You don't need the shamash first. Candles, and then the shamash. We'll see it Be'ez Hashem later. But let me answer that question, Be'ez Hashem. The shamash there is for a very important reason. Because we are obligated to kindle the menorah, correct? But we cannot get benefit from the lights. So if we are benefiting from the light, we can say, hey, it's from the shamash.
Mm-hmm.
It's not from the candles. So we're taking a ride on the back of the shamash. Let's put it that way. You got the idea? Okay. I think we can skip that. We already talked about that. Okay. Okay, not skip that. I have this is important. Let me ask you a question. How many menorahs, how many Chanukiot one should have at home? How many you should kindle? One?
Well, I'm confused now. Hold on. May I ask you a question, please?
You already asked.
Because I still wasn't 100% clear. So are the women and the men, if they're in the same household, are they both obligated to light menorah, to light the Hanukkah?
Everyone is obligated. What we're doing is like in the Kiddush. I'm trying to simplify it. Everyone must do Kiddush. But the head of the household is doing Kiddush, and everybody fulfilled by listening. Same with the menorah, is kindling for everyone, and everybody fulfilled. The question is, how many menorah you should have at home? Let's say a family, 2 parents and 5 kids.
So the minimum is
2 parents and 8 kids. Let's say 8 kids. How many menorah you should have?
Minimum, you need one.
Minimum is 1.
Minimum.
But they need 10.
So there's a different customs. Okay, Sephardi and Yemenite following Rambam, 1 menorah, 1 Chanukiah for everybody. Ashkenazim is for each and every one of the members of the house. I don't know what your custom was, but you have more than Chanukiah or 1? Wow. Maybe it's your custom from Ashkenazim, 1 menorah for every child. 1 Chanukiah. I would say just your wife, husband, and the kids.
Wait a minute. You said for your children, you have a separate Hanukkah for each child that's old enough to light. But for your wife, if it's just you and your wife.
So we'll see. There's different customs. Some the wife and the husband shares. Some says no, she is obligated as well, so she needs to have her own. Okay, so we'll see. Our sages taught in Tractate Shabbat 21b that the basic mitzvah of Hanukkah lights is for each household to kindle 1 light each night. Those who wish to fulfill the mitzvah of on a higher level, a mehadrin, right, kindle a light for each member of the household on each night. For those who wish to fulfill the mitzvah on the highest level, ha-mehadrin min ha-mehadrin, but Hillel ruled that on the first night he kindles 1 light, and on each successive night he adds 1 additional light, like what we do nowadays. Versus Shammai, they were lighting 8 and every night taking 1 down. According to this, the basic mitzvah requires 1 light per household, regardless of the number of people living in the household. Sephardi. The highest level of the mitzvah is to kindle 1 light in the household on the first night, 2 lights on the second night, and so forth, until one kindles 8 lights on the final night, regardless of the number of members in the household. There is no basis for kindling any more than this, and no more may be kindled. This is the ruling of Shulchan Aruch 671-2, and the Rambam testified that already in his time this had been the common custom of Spanish Jewry for many generations. Any questions? So this is Friday. It's also the Yemenite custom. The Ashkenazim had the custom, but you need to check with Rabbi Frankenbaum what's he paskin about that for your own knowledge. Okay. I remember friends of mine when I came to visit them on Hanukkah, they had plenty of Chanukiot in the house lighting. Okay. But again, they might be having different customs for some Ashkenazim. The next part is where to place the Chanukiah. Can I put it on the floor?
No.
Why not?
It has to be seen.
I see it. It's on the floor.
No, it has
outside.
Like, what is
You have to be
it?
outside.
3
You
feet?
have to be outside.
It has to be by a window. You have to be able to see
On
it.
the left of the door.
What do you call this? The aquarium, the container that has a closed box made out of glass, like lentil. What do you call this?
Roseburgs have that.
I have one too.
What do you call no? To this box is like aquarium, fish aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you call it?
Aquarium.
Aquarium. That's the name. There's another name for it. I remember. Okay, so some placing it in. What do you call it? Glass container. Okay, I accept that. Glass container. I see some people putting a glass container outside of the house on the floor. On the floor. Is that okay?
That's a display box?
No, there's this name for that. I'll figure it out later. Display box.
Would it depend on the size?
Ma?
Would it depend on the size? Like, if it's a big one, you don't want to put it
Well, you said big one, you meant high one. I'm talking about what difference does it make if it's that size or that size? It's still on the floor.
But the lights have to be
So the halacha says the following. Let's stop guessing and see what the halacha says. Very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3 feet.
Wow. It is preferable. Okay, the title is Proper Positioning of Hanukkah lights. Proper positioning of Hanukkah lights. It is preferable, according to the halacha, that the Hanukkah lights be positioned no higher than 10 tfachim, which is 80 centimeters, 32 inches. Okay, 80 centimeters or around 1 meter. Okay, from the floor of one's home. If, however, someone placed them higher than this, he has fulfilled the mitzvah. The lights should be positioned no lower than 3 tfachim. 3 tfachim is around 24 centimeters or 10 inches. You heard the word tfachim before? Tfachim is this is sayot tefach. You see here to here, one punch, one box. So 3 tfachim is 1, 2, 3. Use your imagination, like how you calculate kazayit. We're using our calculation, our imagination. We don't always weigh the food. We think this bread is heavy or size of egg or half an egg. That's how we're calculating it, right? We're estimating. So, again, the light should be positioned no lower than 3 tfachim, which is 24 centimeters / 10 inches, above the floor. If someone positioned the light within 3 tfachim of the floor, which means lower than 24 inches or 24 centimeters or 10 inches, some poskim ruled that he has not fulfilled the mitzvah whatsoever. But others ruled that although he should not have kindled them in this position, he has fulfilled the mitzvah nevertheless. It means that some agree, some disagree, and it's easy to fulfill it in a way that it's good and kosher by all opinion. So why to say, you know what, some poskim say it's good, let me leave it on the floor.
And just do it.
In practice, if someone did kindle his lights this low, he should extinguish them, raise the level of the light, and kindle them again. Which means the base of the menorah could be on the floor, but if the candles are all the way up, it's good, because we're looking in bottom line where the lights are, not where the base of the menorah. So if you have a big menorah, you can place it on the floor with a high stand. What do you call this? High leg. But he may not recite the blessings a second time, even if the candles are positioned within 3 tfachim of the floor, as long as the flames of their lights are above 3 tfachim, 24 / 10 inches from the floor, it is acceptable. The main concern is the height of the flames of the lights, and make sure that this height would last at least 30 minutes till it goes down. Okay, because the minimum required is going to be, it's not exactly the minimum required, but it's best to have it 30 minutes. What if I kindle the Hanukkah and 10 seconds later, minutes later, I look at the Hanukkah, it's all got extinguished.
Light it again with no blessing?
Do I have to relight it?
You have to?
I said Shechayanu, I said the Alanisim, I said the 3 brachot the first night, finish, I light it, beautiful, I go to the couch, I look at it again, extinguished.
It's not just. You can light it.
No, I know I can.
No,
The question is if I have to.
You have to light. Oh, you have to?
Do I have to or don't have to?
You fulfilled the mitzvah.
But it has to last for
Okay, exactly. So Larry says, the halacha says, Hadlaka osa mitzvah. Remember this rule. Hadlaka, lighting, osa, do the mitzvah. Meaning, as long as you kindle it, you fulfill the mitzvah. I don't care what happened later. Unless you put it in not a proper place. You put it by the window, and you know it's going to be windy. And to begin with, the position was bad. So you didn't fulfill the mitzvah at all. Okay? How high I can go? How high?
No more than 80 centimeters, no?
all the way to the sky. No, I'm just joking. No, I know.
All the way to
It's
the
like
sky.
a song. I know, not true. I'm sorry.
No more than 80
It's problematic,
centimeters.
the question, because in urban areas, if you live like in multi-story apartments or whatever, for us to see, you have to put it so that people can see this.
Someone living in the 8th floor, if you put it by the window, nobody walks like that.
I know it's a problem, that's what we do, I think,
Yes.
because in Israel,
They're not supposed to. If he lives, I don't know, 4th floor, there's no point to put it.
Do they have
No
one
point to put it
in the
there.
lobby or
So how they advertise the mitzvah? Where are they going to put it?
On display it on the window. I did read it, that it is ideally on the first floor, when everybody can see it, if you live like in a high rise. But if you're not allowed to. put
What
it
floor
on
are
the
you?
floor,
Oh.
16.
Big problem. To put it on the window, there's no point.
There's other high rises around.
So what you're going to do,
Oh.
in your case, 16th floor, 1/6, what to put? In the kitchen or whatever you want to put it. Not where Shabbat candles are. Make it like different. So how you advertise the mitzvah? How you publicize the mitzvah? No.
You say happy Hanukkah.
Ma? You advertise it
Well,
to
there's other high rises around. so they
To?
don't see.
other Jews,
yourself. You forgot about yourself? You advertise it to yourself.
On Instagram.
It is forbidden to kindle Hanukkah lights more than 20 cubits. Cubits is equal to 48 centimeters / 20 inches. 20 cubits is almost 10 meters. It's 9.6 or 33 feet and 4 inches. So no higher than 33 feet or no higher than 10 meters. Above that, there's no point to exhibit it. It is forbidden to kindle Hanukkah lights more than 20 cubits above 10 meters or 33 feet above the floor of one's home. If someone did kindle his lights higher than 20 cubits from the floor, he has not fulfilled the mitzvah. He must extinguish those lights, place his candelabra in a lower position, and kindle the lights a second time. However, he may not recite the blessing a second time. When measuring 20 cubits is the height of the flame that matters, and not the height of the base of the candles. So I decided to put it next to my door. Where should I put it? So the halacha said, the preferred method, can I get an extra 5 minutes today? When I finish the topic here. The preferred method of fulfilling this mitzvah is to kindle the Hanukkah light outside the doorway of one's home, within the tefach of the doorway, not to attach, a little bit aside. They should be positioned on the left side of the doorway, which means I enter, I have mezuzah on my right side. I have Hanukkah, menorah, my left side. I'm surrounded with mitzvot. And if you have tzitzit on you, wow, it's very strong mitzvot that you're fulfilling.
Question about if your door, though, the orientation, I'm thinking of a friend of mine who has the orientation, the door doesn't face the street, it faces the backside of another house or something. It's not faces, no one's going to see it.
There's no point. No point, yeah. We're talking about a door or a gate, let's say a gate, that face the Reshut Arabim. Outside, when people are walking, we can see them. Right. If you live in a building. Okay. Let me just finish this halacha. Okay. The position on the left side of the doorway when facing from the outside. So that when someone enters, he finds the mezuzah on his right and the Hanukkah lights on his left. In this way, whenever someone exits or enters the home, he is surrounded by mitzvot. This is especially so if the person is wearing a talit katan, tzitzit, right? For then he is surrounded by 3 mitzvot. This gives him a special spiritual boost and the strength to remain strong in his observance of mitzvot, even in the face of difficulties. This is our sage's interpretation of the verse in Kohelet 4:12. What's Kohelet? Ecclesiastes. A rope woven from 3 strands will not quickly unravel. Okay, I'm skipping some because I think you got the idea. Those who live in a high story where the window or balcony is higher than 20 cubits above the street should kindle their lights in the doorway of their apartment, inside their apartment. There is a little advantage of kindling the lights in the window, since they will not be noticed by passerby outside.
Question. In Israel, for example, you have a lot of apartments facing the street, and they go up high. If you put it in your window, your fellow Jews across the street look out their window and they'll see you.
The halacha says that the mitzvah of advertising it's more to the people that pass walking on the street, not people that are already at home, because it's kind of like a reminder for those who are walking back home. It's today is so and so, and today is the 4th candle, and so on. In Israel, we have Chabad driving with a car with an announcement, and many synagogues. Baruch Hashem, in Israel, you have synagogues in almost every street, and many of them have lights, electrical lights. Yeah. So you can see according to the lights as a reminder which. By the way, can you fulfill the mitzvah of kindling an electrical menorah?
I was getting ready to ask that question. I was going to ask that same question.
I'm a psychic. I felt someone has that question. No? Can we do that? Can we fulfill that? Does it make any difference if it's fluorescent or LED or regular?
Well, now that you said that.
It's very simple to remember the simple rule. What kind of oil and wicks are kosher for menorah, Hanukkah? Anything, right? Anything. So what if I want to use lard?
That's fine.
Lard. It's oil, it's fat, it's a pig, it's a pork fat.
Last year you said it was okay.
I'm not eating, I'm messing up with it. It's a non-kosher oil. Can I use it for menorah, Hanukkah?
If it's all that you have available and there's 0 other option, you should feel bad.
This is something we'll discuss next week. Remember that question. Homework for next week. One more halacha.
So
Can one fulfill the mitzvah if they use an electrical?
We already talked about, there's so many halachot, I have to skip some of them. In the case that it's a dangerous place, even if you're first floor and you're supposed to be, assuming you were living in a comfortable or a Jewish neighborhood, you would put it by the window, but this is dangerous for you. You're not supposed to put it there and risk yourself. Put it inside. What do you want to ask?
The electrical.
Electrical.
Electrical north. So would one fulfill the mitzvah?
No. In some cases, our sages permitting, just as a reminder, in the case that you're in a hotel, they don't permit you, or you're in a flying, you're flying to Israel, and there's nothing you can do, so they permit you to use electrical. You can light fire on the plane, right? The plane is permitted. So some do it with a flashlight, some do it. There's a lot of tricks we can learn, but not sure we have time. Give me 2 more minutes and I finish. 3 minutes, okay. Okay, let me skip that. Okay. People, okay, let me ask you this. In the Beit Knesset, in the shul, in the synagogue, it's customary to kindle Hanukkah, menorah, right? Can one fulfill the mitzvah by being there, listening to the blessing of the Gabbai kindling the menorah? I know it's a good question. I'm trying. That's my job, to ask a good question.
Yeah.
Or one fulfill his mitzvah.
No, I say no, because if you're extremely poor.
Some people, not extremely poor, he can afford it. Believe me, if I tell you something, I'm afraid to talk because I'm recorded. But I want to give you the details. I'm going to tell you there's people that I know, they are wealthy. I don't know if it's extremely wealthy, but they're wealthy. And they're so stingy, they're looking for, actually, if I heard it in the shul, I don't have to buy menorah and oil and all this. So they exempt themselves for listening to the, how much does it cost, for God's sake? You know, you buy the whole candles, what do you call the tea table, the one that run. It costs $3 for 50 pieces. It's more than enough. You don't even need to earn menorah, just place them straight. You can't spend $3? People that stingy, I'm telling you, it's a sickness. Listen to me. They don't enjoy, God don't let them enjoy the money that they have. They have so much. They don't enjoy it. Anyways, so what about the shul? What do you do in the shul?
Based on that, I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, I'm saying yes.
The universally accepted custom is to kindle Hanukkah lights in the synagogue as well as at home in order to enhance the advertising and publicizing of the mitzvah. This is an ancient and sacred custom. Okay, we do it in the kotel also. I didn't answer the question yet. If you, I know. In the Western, the kotel, right? The Western Wall, they do that every year. The big one. When they do that, when they do it, the custom is to kindle the Hanukkah lights in the synagogue after reciting mincha, immediately after sunset. Why they don't do it when the lights come down, stars come down, nightfall? Because nightfall, everybody leaves. Between mincha and Mari, people stay, and the whole Mari, they see the Hanukkah. This is how you advertise. You advertise for the people to see. What's the point to do it when everybody leaves? Even though the mitzvah kindling Hanukkah lights at home begin at dusk, the custom is not to postpone the kindling of the synagogue until dusk, since everyone wishes to rush home immediately after reciting a read, to kindle the light in his own home. Therefore, we kindle the light in the synagogue immediately after sunset, before the congregation recites Arvit. In this way, the congregation will be in the presence of the burning light. Okay, we discussed that while they are reciting Ma'ariv. Thus, fulfilling the purpose of the lights, this is to advertise the mitzvah. If the rule was to postpone kindling in the Hanukkah lights until after reciting Arvit, Ma'ariv, The lights will advertise the mitzvah very little, since everyone will immediately leave the synagogue to go and kindle lights at home. So let's answer the question. We finish with that for today. About, am I fulfilling the mitzvah? Yes or no? Because some say for Kiddush, you do. You listen Kiddush for the Rabbi, you fulfill the mitzvah. Right? In many synagogues, you should know. I don't know if they used to do it here anymore, but in Ma'ariv, before Aleinu L'Shabach, or sometimes after Aleinu L'Shabach, they do Kiddush. Because some people, in many synagogues they do it in Israel, some people don't do Kiddush. They just sometimes come to synagogue and they leave. So in order to help them fulfill the mitzvah, the rabbi or the gabbai will do a Kiddush. Okay. Same, they do Havdalah. They don't have to do Havdalah in the synagogue, but some won't do it. So
some people are Yotzi that Havdalah.
Huh?
Some people are
You can. Havdalah is no problem. You can listen to the Havdalah and fulfill the mitzvah by listening to Havdalah in the shul, anywhere. But the best way is to do it at home. Sanctify your house. It's a great thing to do. So let's answer the question. No individual can fulfill his personal obligation to kindle Hanukkah lights by kindling lights in the synagogue. Even the individual who kindles the lights in the synagogue, the gabbai or the rabbi, right, and recites the blessing over them, must nevertheless kindle lights at home as well. For the mitzvah of Hanukkah is to kindle lights at one's home. He must repeat the blessing before kindling at home as well, for the sake of his family members who did not hear the blessing in the synagogue. Let me just conclude this with saying, someone who lives alone and was given the honor to reciting the three blessings and kindling the Hanukkah lights in the synagogue on the first night of Hanukkah must kindle the lights at his home as well. But he should recite the blessing of Lehadlik Ner Shel Hanukkah only. He may not recite the blessings of She'asa Nisim La'avoteinu and She'echianu a second time, since there is no one at home who needs to hear them. Any questions? Yes.
You said, like they kindle the candle in March. Isn't that too early? Are you lighting it too early to do it before March?
Basically, after sunset, it's okay to light it, especially even if you're at your own home, because you have to rush for catch a plane or whatever. You may do that, and we see if you can do it even earlier. Sometimes even earlier than that. The best way is at dusk. We'll discuss Be'ezrat Hashem next week about a situation. Someone comes late. What if her husband says, "Hey, honey, I'm going to come at 9 o'clock tonight," but you're supposed to light the candle, let's say around 6 o'clock. What's better, to wait for him, or she will light the menorah on his behalf? Wait, or Hanukkah. You're saying wait?
I don't know.
Everybody say wait?
We can think about it, right? It's homework.
Hanukkah? Another question for homework. You know, it's a kiddbeh question. In Hebrew, we call it a kiddbeh question. You heard this verse, a term before, kiddbeh question?
Yeah.
Let me share it with you. You know what? In Israel, if someone asks a question like that, for example, it's called, don't take it for a second, they call it a kiddbeh question. You know what's a kiddbeh question? It's, any Israeli that served the IDF would tell you, they punch you in the face if you ask a kiddbeh question. What is the kiddbeh question? You know, the kiddbeh in the army are very heavy. I'm telling you, they're heavy. You're supposed to carry them to the tent and take just what it's needed. But there's always a gathering before going to the buses or whatever, and there's always someone messed up, and they let you run. So, oh, you're making noise. Okay, everybody. They're looking for an excuse to let you run. So I said, now you see that tree over there? Touch the tree and come back, and you have 3 minutes. It's far away. And there's always the one that will ask, are we supposed to do it with the kiddbeh or without the kiddbeh?
Dang it.
What do you think that the commander will say? Of course, with the kiddbeh. And ever since, this is the term, a kiddbeh question. that night is gonna get it, that person. But if anybody tells you kid bag question, you get the idea. No, that's
It's not valid at the end or dead?
it's called kid bag.
Kid bagging?
Kid bag, but the meaning is the bag. What do you call this?
Like your
Yeah, what do you call this
your
bag?
gear.
No, there's a name for it. No, you guys forgot your English. It's like a sack, the green sack.
A backpack.
Duffel. It's like a duffel bag. It's kind of like a duffel. It's very heavy.
Yeah.
So I don't know in Hebrew they call it. It's not a Hebrew word, but they call it a kid bag. I don't know why they call it kid bag. It's a bag.
Is it kick back?
Kit, more kit bag.
Oh, I get it.
Bag.
Kid bag.
Kit bag. Kit.
Yeah. Kit is K-I-T.
Kit, no kick. He will get the kick later. You're gonna kick him out.
K-I-T. Oh, I thought it was
Laila Tov, everybody. Happy Hanukkah.